These are 5 tricks you can use to instantly improve at speed cubing. These are tricks that I wish I knew sooner, and stick around for the last one because that one was a huge breakthrough for me in my speed cubing journey. So hopping right into trick 1, it is to do more volume. This one is stupidly simple but insanely important. As with anything, the more you practice, the better you will get. Who do you think is going to be the better cuber? The one who does 100 solves a day or the one who does 20 solves a day? Obviously the one who does 100. And just to prove this, I'm going to be doing a sub 30 solve using only the beginner method. And the reason I'm able to do this is because I've done so much volume with these beginner algorithms that I'm still able to be pretty fast with a very bad method. After a certain point though, you want to stop just mindlessly practicing solves over and over and over and actually work on parts of your solves. Otherwise, you're going to have practiced terrible habits thousands of times and it's going to be really hard to break them. But how are you supposed to know what to work on if you don't even know which parts of your solves are lacking? And this leads us straight into trick 2, which is timing your splits. So if you're using CFOP, that means timing your cross, your F2L, your OLL, and your PLL. So to do this, you go to CS Timer, hit settings, go to timer, and then you change this number to 4. So when you get done with the cross, you press space, F2L, you press space, OLL, space, PLL, space. And this will give you your splits for each part. And a good baseline to remember is that your cross should be about 10% of your solve, your F2L about 50 to 60% of your solve, and your OLL and PLL both around 20%. So for example, a 30-second solve should look like about a 3-second cross, 15 to 17-second F2L, and OLL and PLL both about 6-7 seconds. And don't worry if it's not perfect because this will be a variable from person to person, but this is just a good baseline to follow. And usually when you do this, you'll notice a certain part of your solve is way worse than the rest. And for beginners, that tends to be their cross or their F2L. A lot of times if you're first getting into it, your solve will be about a minute and a half or a minute, and your cross could be 20 to 30 seconds of that. That's 1/3 to 1/4 of your whole solve, wherein it should be about 10%. So more than likely, it's going to be your cross or your F2L. And this leads us straight into trick 3, which is practicing untimed inspection. If you don't normally inspect and plan out your entire cross during inspection, that's what you're going to be working on. At first, this is going to take you a long time. It could take 10 minutes to get one cross or one cross plus F2L. But as you continue to practice more volume, you'll get way better. This is very important as the first F2L pair is normally the longest pause in your whole solve. So doing whatever you can to eliminate that first pause will be game changing. I promise that if you practice untimed inspection enough, you won't even recognize yourself. And this leads us into trick 4, which is turning slower. Turning slower might seem counterintuitive, but let's face it, you're not Yi Hang Wang and your look ahead probably sucks. And how are you supposed to even look ahead if you're turning so fast and you can't even see the pieces? So when I say turn slower, I'm specifically talking about your cross and your F2L. Your third layer, you can still really TPS it out. But for your cross and your F2L, I really want you to deliberately But for your cross and your F2L, I want you to deliberately turn slower. And if you combine this with your inspection, your cross and your F2L will just be so much more seamless. And if you practice turning slower enough, eventually you'll practice the better habits and better look ahead so that eventually you'll be able to turn really fast with no pauses. This is what really fast TPS F2L with no look ahead looks with lots of pauses versus turning slow enough to see the pieces while being able to track the next pairs. But once you get to that third layer, you can turn as fast as you'd like. Before we get into the last trick, I want to give a bonus trick, and that is buying a better speed cube. If you're sub 40 or sub 30 and you're still using a horrible Rubik's Cube, getting a new Rubik's Cube will instantly improve your times. But if you don't have a speed cube, I would definitely recommend getting a speed cube. There's a lot of great budget options for speed cubes out there, but one I'd highly recommend is the WRMV10. It's only about $30 and it is still one of my main, and I have lots of Rubik's Cubes, so you don't really need to break the bank. And if you do want to get it, go to speedcubeshop.com and use code JCube at checkout for a huge discount. And this leads us into the 5th and final step, which is untimed solves. Doing untimed solves is what got me from sub 25 to my first sub 15 average. It helps practice good habits without the pressure of a timer or getting a bad solve. While you're doing your untimed solves, really just focus on coming up with new creative F2L solutions and cross solutions, and pair this with your untimed inspection. But go through the solve very slow, practicing your good habits, like not rushing to find the first F2L pair, but just taking it slow, finding the best one. And over time, you will actually implement this into your timed solves, especially when you pair this with the turning slower trick. Felix Zimdeg's the best cuber of all time was basically asked how he got so good, and his answer was basically untimed solves.
And basically it just comes down to practice. Even if that's just solving cube while you're like just doing everyday stuff.
He always had a cube on him, and he was always just trying to practice around with the algorithms himself and mess with it and come up with good solutions. So don't just take it from me, take it from Felix Zimdegs. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And if you want to watch the full roadmap to getting sub 20, then click right here. Also, guys, if you are at all interested in joining a Speedcubing community, head over to Skool.com and click the link in the description. I have a free Skool community where we're going to be doing events, giveaways, and I'm going to be dropping a free Speedcubing course. Click the link in the description and join now.